Addiction and assault cases, whether it's alcohol or it's drugs, we see a lot of cases involving addiction and assaults, and we want to talk as criminal defense attorneys. We kind of give an overview of our opinion on the topic, and we think the best ways we think of dealing with these kinds of cases.
Right, and on something with alcohol involved with it, up front, if you can, what you want to do is you want to go in, get an evaluation done, and get a disinterested third party's opinion as to where do they think you fall. You can be NSP, no significant problem. You can be SP1, which means you're getting there. Typically requires a year program. SP2 means you're on your way, or you are in fact addicted to drugs or alcohol, and they're going to be recommending a 2-year program.
Well, I was going to say, I think they've recently changed the leveling system internally within the drug and alcohol evaluators, but the same concept applies.
Right,
I mean,
right.
You're either going to be found not to have a problem, you're going to have a small problem, a major problem, or you're addicted, you're reliant, and you're out of control.
Right.
And when we say get an evaluation, you know, we have evaluators we talk to, and we're able to give our input to that evaluation, and we're able to help clients move well. There's a lot of stress and energy that you produce when you get charged with a crime, and the question becomes where do you put it. And if you're struggling with a drug and alcohol problem, the problem is the first inclination is to put it in the bottle or in the drug that you're using. Right. The best thing is to take that power, that energy, and direct it towards a recovery program, knowing that even if you didn't do that, eventually, if you're convicted of a crime, you're gonna have to anyway, because the judge is going to say at conviction, at sentencing, go get a drug and alcohol evaluator. You're not going to get to choose who that evaluator is. You're not going to have a relationship with that evaluator. Your defense attorney's input is not going to be considered in that evaluation process if it's mandatory. And at that point, you're going to have to deal with the problem. And now you're, whatever it is, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road of an addiction that's gone unaddressed, and all of that power that you had to take care of a problem or address a problem has gone away.
Right.
So, and also, I mean, drug addiction and counseling, is that not a common thing you talk to prosecutors about when we have a client?
It's usually depending upon the charge, and if you're involved in an assault charge or violation of a no contact order, protection order, anti-harassment order, any of these types of charges, they're going to say, what's your guy's deal or what's your gal's deal? What's happening here? We come in and we've got an evaluation that says, boom, we had him evaluated. This is what's going on. Typically what they're willing to do at that point in time is, all right, let's kick this down the road 30, 60, 90 days. You get him in there, get this addressed, and then let's talk about what possible resolutions there are. If you don't want to own up to your behavior and say you have an issue with that, that's fine, we can still help you. But I think it's usually in your best interest to do so up front, because if you go out there and you hit an evaluator and they say, oh, he's got a 2-year problem or a SP2 issue, you can be like, no, I don't, I got drunk once. We get you into another evaluator. Because I can tell you this much, if you're going through the Department of Corrections or probation, you're not going to get the type of an evaluation that we get.
It's not, well, you will not. You don't necessarily get an objective evaluation, right? And that's what everybody fears. And that's what I think is the common middle ground, is you need to get somebody that a prosecutor is going to respect, and yet also is not so biased in one direction of finding that any time that you drink to intoxication, you automatically have a problem. I've had one evaluator I ran into that thought that, and I thought, you know, look, you know, but my client doesn't do this frequently, you know, and they don't have a pattern of abuse, and this was an isolated incident, and somebody else was buying them drinks at the time, and their usual course in life isn't to engage in a lot of alcohol abuse. So it really becomes important that your evaluator is chosen carefully. And I find when I go in and talk to a prosecutor and I say, hey, my client, not only did he go get an evaluation, he's already involved in the program, he's going to see AA twice a week, he is terribly sorry for what went on, he's going to change his behavior, and if we kick a case down the road and they see that no relapses happen in a 6-month period of time, it is the beginnings of my favorite argument, the equitable argument that says, hey, you know, let's do something that's fair in this set of circumstances instead of just what you can.
Right, they learned their lesson, they've done what they need to do in order to make sure that the mistake doesn't get repeated. Now work with us on that. You'll get that result if you go in, get the evaluation, and front load the case. If you don't want to front load the case, that's your choice. but in a lot of circumstances that really helps you out.
Yeah, you're going to have a hard time getting us on board as a lawyer if we get an independent drug and alcohol evaluator that says there's a problem, and we've walked you into that evaluation where you know exactly what's going on. It's not our fault,
right.
Remember, as lawyers, that circumstance is going on. We're just trying to make sure that you get a fair shake at it. And dealing with substance abuse and addiction problems, having done this for a long time, so have you, they're difficult. Why? Because the very nature of addiction requires self-deceit.
Right.
And so we are not judgmental around addiction issues. It is clearly a biological, from our perspective, it's clearly a disease. Mm-hmm. It's not a shortcoming of willpower. It's not a failure. It's not something that if you relapse, you're a bad person. You got to get back on the wagon again. It's a fight that you've got to hold to. And at the end of the day, I mean, I know a lot of recovering. My uncle's AA, 25, 30, 40 years now. The only thing that's fun, he's a hysterical guy, except for now he remembers all his jokes.
So, at any rate, if you're in here because if you've got an issue with alcohol or drugs and you're being looked at for an assault charge or any other type of criminal activity, call us. Come in, we can talk to you, we can tell you who you can go to get an honest evaluation and hopefully help you stay out of trouble.
Yeah, we're good guys. We're good people to have on your side.